Hey everybody, Johnny Be Good here. Along with me is a good friend of ours, family friend, Joe,
Uncle Joe.
Uncle Joe. And we're going to promote his hobby and business.
I'm an unpaid associate of the Providence
You
Tool
do it
Company.
for the joy.
Oh, I'm actually vice president in charge of lifting heavy objects at the shop there.
Yep. So I would appreciate if you guys watch this video and share it, and share it to someone you know that loves firearms, and who knows, they might just really like it.
Today we're going to talk about two of the models of Providence Tool Company, Plymouth, Wisconsin. The first model we're going to talk about is the Raton. It's named after a range in Raton, New Mexico. And this is chambered in 45-100 Peabody. And the 45-100 Peabody is a bottleneck cartridge. We have had excellent results using a 540 grain paper patch bullet. The parent case for this is a 5110. It is neck down and shortened. This model right here, this is my personal rifle. These typically for ranges out to 1,000 yards, and it is to hit the target at 1,000 yards. You need three things. You need a good shooter, you need a good rifle,
A power telescope to look through.
Well, actually, you probably won't even see the holes at 1,000.
Yeah.
You got a guy scoring in the pits 1,000 yards away. And the other thing you need is a really good bullet. And to make the bullets, we cast the bullets ourselves, and then we sort them by weight, and you keep them to specs. The powder is poured through within 1/10 of a grain. Those are 92 grains of 1.5F Swiss powder in there. And we've had some very, very good results with this rifle. This is middle of the ground, or middle class, I would say, as far as cost. This rifle is about $4,000 all told, and that's with the dies, brass, and sights. And I requested a little bit fancier wood than standard. And these are all completely 100% custom built rifles, and they are built to your length of pull, the type of sights that you want, the wood, the finish on the rifle. When they say custom rifle, it's custom rifle. Anything, it's whatever the customer wants. And this is, a very popular model with the Providence Tool Company. The Peabody Design has been around since the 1860s. It is a very strong design. These parts are nearly identical to the original Peabodys. Mostly they interchange, and it is. If you ever read about the history of the Peabody rifle, it's darn near indestructible. Very strong, very accurate.
What does it weigh, Joe?
This rifle here weighs about 11 pounds.
11 pounds.
Now, some of the more powerful rifles, they'll put weight in the butt to reduce the recoil. But for my shooting, the 45-100, the recoil is quite manageable. It does have a rubber recoil pad on it, and it's really not any more hard than say a trapdoor at full power loads. Now, this is 45-100. Frank Warius, the owner of Providence Tool Company, will also make this in 45-70. Really, pretty much any of the loads, traditional loads. Frank is a traditionalist. This is a black powder only rifle, and if you want to talk smokeless, you'll have to talk to Frank about that, and he'll talk you into black powder. Okay. Now
for those of us that don't know much about firearms, how do you load it, Joe?
Okay, to load it, you always pull the hammer back to halfway. You drop the lever, and then you take the round. Now, this is a live round, so I'm not going to install it, but you just slide it in, bring the block back up, go all the way back, And then this, of course, has a double set trigger. So
what's that little nod right there?
that adjusts the weight of the trigger pull.
Ah, I see.
You can take this down to like a ½ ounce if you want. Most shooters keep it around 2 pounds, 2.5 pounds. And a double set trigger, for those of you who don't know, you take the most of the pull on the rear trigger and you pull until it clicks. That's a fairly hefty pull, about 8-10 pounds. And then when you just touch the front trigger, it goes. So, and for a good trigger, you can't beat double set trigger or single set trigger.
Yeah.
And of course, there were no safeties on these rifles. They required, or they relied on the intelligence of the shooter to. You know, as in any rule, you don't point a rifle at anybody.
Sure.
But this is a competition model. It's a little too bulky to take out to the woods, unless you're going to shoot at 400 yards or 600 yards.
Or an elephant, yeah.
Sure. Well, Frank does make the safari model, which can take down an elephant, but we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
All right. Now, the other rifle I want to talk about. Now, this is the prototype of the model that, in the first one, this is the Peabody Carbine. This is a 50-70, single shot, of course, and we tried to make it look, you know, a little old, a little
original.
Original. Yeah. And if when you hold the carbine, it's like holding a baseball bat. I mean, it's just really, really solid. It points quick. And the whole purpose of this carbine is, you know, to paraphrase Forrest Gump, you know, sometimes you just want to shoot. You don't have to be ultra precise with your loading. You don't have to weigh every bullet to within 1/10 of a grain. You don't have to get the powder down and all that. This is basically just for going to the range, having fun, shooting at a milk jug full of water, and otherwise, you know, just having a good time. And really, that's the reason why we shoot, is to go out and because it's fun.
Yeah.
Now, what's nice about this is we have an antique finish on it, and we could have had this blued. We could have made it look nice and pretty, but part of the design was to make it look old. And that if you look, you can see that the finish on the barrel very closely matches this sight, which is an original pre-1879 trapdoor carbine sight, and it gives it a little flavor to the carbine.
Yeah, like a nostalgic look.
Exactly. I wanted it to look
old and antique.
Really,
yeah.
Really, exactly. And
that was my first impression. Is they're antique, you know, they look like it.
Well, they would be nearly identical to the originals. Of course, you've got a modern sight. The case coloring on here is actually a process of the heat treating. A lot of the imported rifles, they use, I believe it's, correct me if I'm wrong, arsenic, and adding a coloring to it, which doesn't do anything to the metal. But this is actually a part of the heat treating, and it's essential to have for a safe firearm. And this is just like the other one. Simple, load it, and you're done. Double set triggers. Now, I have an original Peabody carbine, and the original Peabody carbine shot 50 rimfire. And 50 rimfire is just like this. This is actually a 5650 Spencer, which is dimensionally the same as a 50 rimfire. This is Starline brass, and they do make it, and this carbine is available in this caliber. Now, I wanted to go 50-70, and you can just see the difference in the cases. The 50-70 gives you a lot more options on your loads, bullet weight, and that sort of thing. And this carbine here with the twist, I believe it's a 1 in 24 or 1 in 26. But it does favor the heavier bullets. This is a 450 grain bullet, hollow base. This is a 350 grain bullet, regular flat base. This bullet actually shoots best in the original carbine with 28 grains of powder only, whereas this shoots best with 60 grains of powder. And we just really started trying different loads on this carbine. We've only tried 1.5 F Swiss. I would like to try 2.5, get a faster burn rate. And you would think that with a bullet like this, the recoil would be brutal, and actually it's not. And the reason for that is it's a short barrel. It's only 20 inches. And as you know, black powder burns fairly slow compared to modern smokeless. And when the bullet exits the barrel, you're getting a lot of unburned powder and with it. And actually, when you shoot, it makes a tremendous fireball and a lot of smoke. It's really kind of neat to see.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
But I
just watching those reenactment on the Civil War movies, yeah.
Yeah, when you're shooting the real black, it really does make a scene. One of the reasons another reason why we came out with the carbine was not everybody wants a $4,000 or a $5,000 or a $10,000 rifle, and if you look at the cost of a higher end rifle, a lot of that goes into the fit and finish of the rifle. And I know that I helped build this rifle. I put this fore end on here, and it was I spent an entire day sanding to get that thing to fit. And you know, I'm unpaid labor. So to get the stock, to get the wood and all that, especially when you go to octagonal barrels, you're talking a lot of man hours. So another reason we came with this firearm was we really wanted to get something, you know, at the lower end that a new shooter into black powder can get into without having to, you know, sell the second car. And the other nice thing about this is that with this 20-inch barrel, though, we have basically come up with the same design, only with a 24-inch barrel. And we call that our saddle rifle, and that is coming out very shortly. In fact, I think one of them is already into our customer's hands, so I didn't even get a chance to test it yet. But
what's the weight on this one, Joe?
This is only 6.5 pounds.
And the other one? The one that you just, the longer version?
It's maybe saddle? A pound more.
A pound more?
If that. But with the longer barrel, you're going to burn more of that powder. It's going to kick more, so you got to be a little more careful of your loads. Of course, you can always put a slip-on recoil pad if you want, but actually, with the way it is now, with this solid brass butt plate, the recoil is no bother at all. It's really fairly gentle.
Now, what's the wood made of? I mean,
this is just a straight, you know, finish. It's I can't remember, the guy who does the stocks doesn't let us in on a lot of his secrets, but I actually wanted this to be on an unfinished wood, and I actually wanted to beat it up some to make it look old. And I couldn't really touch it until it was mine, released into my possession. So it's gonna look a little bit different when I get done with it.
Yeah.
I like the natural wood with the linseed oil finishes, and of course that's my preference. However, you know, the next person who orders one, he can have it however he wants. Again, Peabody, the Providence Tool Company firearms, they're all custom-made rifles, and you get what you order. And of course, you know, the more you want, the more expensive it's going to go. This rifle right here, as it stands, is about $1,800 out the door, plus or minus a little bit, depending on what you do. For example, I supplied the rear sight, and we were still kind of dickering about the price when we ordered it last year or so. But you can call Frank Waris. He's in the if you look under Providence Tool Company, you might find his website. Otherwise, his phone number is 920-893-9675. And call him during the daytime. He's usually around, except lunch, when he goes out to Glen Beulah and eats. And give him a call. He loves to talk about his rifles. Likes to talk about the Peabodys. We've got these. We do a lot of developmental work with these. We've got the loads down for the Raton. This one here, we're getting dialed in. And there's also other models that he makes. The Safari model, the Stalker, which are, you know, they're in their own little world. But we'll get to those on another day. But,
now, where are they located, Joe?
It's Plymouth, Wisconsin. They're made in, and all his. There is no shop. There is no big box store that handles them. You deal directly with Frank at the Providence Tool Company. We do go to some of the shows around here and display. Believe they've been written up in several magazines. Several of the NCOWS shooters have used these. They're only about, really a handful that are made every year. So you're getting really a unique piece. And like I say, this carving is really, I just really like this carving. I mean, if you held it and you'd really like it. So it's just neat. I just love it. But I think that's about it. So if you have any questions, call Frank at Providence Tool Company, the Peabody guy, Mr. Peabody, and give him a call, and he'd glad to fill you in on the options and what's going on with the shop.